From marvelous Miami, Florida, home of the Miami Heat and the site of our sports scarring moment today, the Ray Allen shot. The year is 2013. The Big Three Miami Heatles were in pursuit of the key feature of all dynasty, a repeat championship. But in their face stood the dynasty that's the only exception to this rule, the San Antonio Spurs. Game 6 looks like it was going to come down to the final possession. But after the greatest player ever I said what I said misses a shot, the ball bounces off of the rim, and you know what? I'll let Superfan and my bestest bud in the whole wide world, Jarell Johnson, tell y'all the rest of the story. This is Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals, and this is Sport.
James catches, puts up a three. Won't go.
I was hurt.
Rebound Bosh. Back out to Allen.
It hurts because like you're up that much.
What a roller coaster ride here in the fourth quarter.
My father was a Spurs fan. We have a family out in San Antonio, a bunch of family that were all Spurs fans. So he was a Spurs fan growing up. So I didn't really have a basketball team. I wasn't really watching basketball, like I said, until I got into middle school. So for the most part, when he was like, he's a San Antonio fan, I was like, all right, I'm gonna check out a couple of games. He would watch a couple of games, and watching Tim Duncan go to work, I think would make anybody a San Antonio fan if you have, you know, something that's bringing you there and you're not watching basketball as much. It's, you know, probably a reason a lot of people are like Lakers fans. Like, you don't see it until you see it, but like, I just sat there and watch. I'd be like, it'd be the most quietest I cooked you in the world. And that's how I like to approach it. Like, you didn't even see me coming. It was just like the most quietest I cooked you. And you're like, oh, there's nothing I could do about it. Being a Spurs fan in today's big flashy market is, I mean, I appreciate it. I'm still a Spurs fan at the end of the day, and we also got the big splashy picks, the big splashy play. And although I appreciate the players we used to have, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, like how the team was built, it's not that way anymore, and especially with how the league is built in general. You know, I think that team assembly would even look different nowadays. Maybe they would play a little bit more splashy, but you know, I love the game for what it is. I get to watch this alien Wemby just dominate the big splash all the time. You're just gonna watch me win this championship. It's gonna be nice. You're gonna call it boring. The parade probably would be boring. I feel like some of the most boring teams, that is the teams that just win sometimes, and people just don't wanna say it, but you look at it like a team like the Nuggets that just won the championship not too long ago. Nikola is like that, and if you're a real fan of basketball, it's exciting to watch the way he maneuvers, but it's not like big splash plays. You get Aaron Gordon dunking every once in a while. They're playing smart the whole time. Sometimes the fundamentals. Shout out to my man Tim Duncan. You know, sometimes he's going off for 40, and sometimes it was the most quiet triple-double ever, but it was crucial. Because what he did on the defensive floor, it wasn't picked up in stats as much. So, yeah, whew, you don't get a lot like that. It was like watching Tom Brady, but you know, ain't nobody gonna make that comparison.
On this Spurs squad existed a Kawhi Leonard that wasn't quite the Kawhi Leonard we love in. Well, sorta, no, the man's a mystery. Since this was years before he blossomed into the lock Hall of Famer he eventually became, I wonder if Jarell saw the signs early.
I thought his defense was at a very high level. Like, you know, whether he was gonna be that good or not, we can always just keep him on the floor because we need someone to guard Bron. Looking at what Kawhi had to go through to like get to a certain point, you know, you can kind of see the progression over time, but yeah, nah. I don't think anybody was just gonna lie to you and be like, yeah, I saw it coming.
Before we get to their matchup with the Heatles' Big Three, we gotta talk about the Spurs' Big Three. Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. We gotta hear Jarell's firsthand experience watching those three.
The way it was watching Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili as part of the Big Three was very much so like, that's why I felt like the game was exciting, because it's like every night I don't know who's gonna go off because they played as a team. So you're sitting there watching Manu, and shoot, in some ways, the way his game was and the things he created, he almost played like Kobe to a certain sense. But he stayed inside of his pocket. There is no, I'm, you know, leading scorer, this, whatever you need from me. And it was the same way watching Tony Parker. Although for Tony Parker, that's like one of my favorite scrappers you'll ever see in the world. Like, where this man don't look big at all, but like he'll rip off 30 every once in a while just because. And you gotta watch him rip off 30, and the nights that he rip off 30, his assists don't go down, nothing else goes down. He just had the hot hand that night. When it was their night, it was fun to watch.
But here's the kicker. That was a big three 11 years removed from their first title, and 14 years removed from Duncan's first title. Were there concerns that Father Time might have been coming for San Antonio?
At all times. Was Tim Duncan on the team? You know, I always have high hopes for my team because we have good front office management. We've been able to keep a coach, and although, you know, we had to, you know, stop having Pop on the floor. In 2013, coming into that series, that final series with Miami, you're looking over there and it's like they got Bron. They got Wade. Damn, is that Bosh? You got people like Shane Battier coming off the bench. When the Spurs was going into Game 6 with that big lead, most people would typically be like, yeah, game's over, this is the dub. But unfortunately for me, I'm a Spurs fan and a Washington Commanders fan. I don't believe much is going on for good for anything. I've seen too many leads be blown up. So I'm sitting there, I'm just like, we gotta keep it tight. I would love to see, you know, and it's not even like we took the foot off the gas, but you know, people talk all that smack, talk about, you know, how Ray Allen may have saved him, but Bron was cooking. Watching LeBron James in that fourth quarter, I've seen him turn up the intensity level to that twice. Really in his career, where you're just like, he's everything right now. He was like everywhere, defense, offense, athletically, running the floor. And I've seen Bron do that one other time, and that was the Cavs and Golden State series, where they went down 3-1 and Bron was like, I don't care. That's where I put Bron in that like a different tier, because everybody try to hate on him and be like he's soft, but I truly believe him from watching that series when Bron's like, I don't care what's going on. Do we still have games to play?
That's all marketing, man. Like, you can't be the LeBron James, put in the work, the LeBron spend $1 million on your body or some crazy. You can't have LeBron's work ethic and longevity without being a f***ing psycho. It's just because he's well-adjusted and actually loves his family that people think he's not as psychotic as Jordan or Kobe loves his family, obviously. But, like, not, like, on that level of psycho of Kobe. Like, nah, dog, LeBron's putting in that same amount of work. He just smiles more. Like, that's the only difference.
That man got split personalities.
That's all it is. That's all it is, bro.
That man.
That man be do-rag down in the gym, dripping sweat, having the time of his life.
You hear the music he listened to in the gym? Does that seem like someone that's playing games?
Not a sane human being we're watching.
Not at all.
He's 41. This game happened 13 years ago. He's about to play another season of basketball in a few months.
All right, on to the faithful moment, but we gotta address the elephant in the room first. Why wasn't Tim Duncan on the floor, Greg Popovich?
You know, if I ever find Pop on the streets. That last possession when Tim Duncan was not in the game, I to this day, I wish I knew why. I imagine Pop, with all his years in the game, with the championships that he has won, he knew something that, you know, at the end of the day, we don't. And he's not going to explain it to nobody because he doesn't feel he really has to. I would prefer the best power forward ever to be in the game. Yeah. That would be nice.
Bosh gets the rebound. You see Ray Allen backpedaling. Your thought is what?
Swish. What else are you supposed to think? What else are you supposed to think? Look how much room he has. I was hurt. I was like, this going in. Game 7? Hey, no. That's like, there's nothing else to think. I swear. I might have to go back and take another look at it. But when Ray Allen stepped back, he probably licked his lips, bro. When Ray Allen put up that shot and it went in, I was not surprised at all. I wasn't surprised. Game was tied. It was never. It hurts because like you're up that much. You're up that much, and you want to, dominate in the fashion that you were. But that's championship basketball. That's championship any sport. Like, it's never over, and they grinded and came back in that game, and they had the pieces to have that opportunity. I feel like in certain ways that is a big reason why no one's contesting that rebound when it comes down. They had all that time. If someone's contesting that, or Kawhi's in a better spot, I don't think Ray Allen's just wide open. But when you have one of your star players fall to the floor, and everybody switched the right way, but them boys moving on the floor. Them boys are switching. Them boys knew exactly what they needed and where to be.
The Mandela effect makes some fans think that Ray Allen's shot was to win the series, but it wasn't. It wasn't even to win the game. It sent the game to overtime and an eventual Game 7. Luckily, Jarell is one of the few fans who remembers both of those very vividly.
The overtime period was just, I've never seen my team look so deflated in my life. For a Tim Duncan-led team, and that's why I felt like we lost the series. We lost that game. I felt like I've never seen them look so deflated in an overtime series where it didn't matter what was left in the tank. The other team had all the momentum. When Game 7 came around, I was hoping my team was just tired in overtime. We came out and really fought, I feel like, but it wasn't the same amount of energy. Like, I feel like the Spurs in Game 6 was looking to give it their all, and they were looking to close out the series. There was never going to be a Game 7. And when Game 7 became a thing after being up 20, it's really hard to come back mentally and be that same team that came out there in Game 6.
Similar to another team in silver and black, after their sports scarring moment, the Spurs made it back to the championship. But unlike that team, sorry Raiders fans, they actually won it all.
So when the Spurs won the chip the next year against the same team, it felt great from the sense of not that, we're back and we won the chip, but more so, I feel like that was the game that, the series before, I feel like was what created Kawhi Leonard, because I feel like he got his chewed out. I feel like they got in there and was like, you're supposed to be that one. And I'm not just talking about on one end of the floor. And the way he came out the next season was scary. Scary, like I'm guarding whoever, 24, all up and down this court, full court, whoever wanted. Some people he didn't even give that much. He was just like, you get half court. I'd be watching him now, I'd be feeling like he's scared to jump, but Kawhi to this day, you get to a spot, it's over. You know exactly where he's gonna go, and you're like, there's nothing you could do.
Fun hypothetical for Spurs fans here, and anyone who's ever dealt with a sports scarring moment before. Would Jarell trade the 2014 championship for the Ray Allen shot to go all the way around the rim and just trickle out towards the end?
Nah, let the Ray Allen shot go in. Like I said, that's what I felt like created Kawhi. Where, if we win that year, maybe he doesn't learn what actually it takes. And I feel like that's what made them amp it up, and like a scope was put on him and he came out the next season. I would probably just prefer it that way. It sucks to have that shot. That's one of the most iconic shots ever. It's
Thank you to Jarell for coming on. Thank you to Spurs fans who somehow made it this far into the video, and you personally for making it this far in the video. We're ending it with the age-old question when it comes down to the NBA Finals. Post-credit scene, go.
Killing these segues today because I have to ask. Better shot all time. Because to me, these are in the finals for the greatest shot in finals history. You should probably already know what the other shot's about to be. Ray Allen shot, Kyrie Irving shot. Bias aside.
No bias, but I know your camera can't see it, but you see what's on the feed. I got the Rees on. Greatest shot ever, final shot, like clinching shot. I would say it's the Kyrie Irving shot. It was different for when Kyrie Irving hit that. Like, it wasn't a disgruntled play where someone Kyrie came up the floor with the ball and sauced their best player. And I'm not saying, Steph Curry's the best defensive player, but he sauced their best player, hit the three in his face, and that really between that and that block, that really did that. So the Ray Allen joint it's the second greatest. It's right there. It's right there.
And we don't even know what number 3 is. I'm sure someone will probably say the Jordan shot against the Jazz or some shit, but like,
yeah.
Nah, that's a league below the other two.
Yeah.